Russell, what's the fastest way to double the valuation of your roofing company?
Well, that's a good question. You got to increase sales, right?
Welcome to the Real Construction Owners Podcast, where we interview real construction owners and the businesses that help you get to the next level. Today, we have a special guest, Russell Cohen, the owner of South Florida M&A Advisors. Russell Cohen, how you doing today, man?
Hey, thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Hey, all good. Listen, if you're a contractor that's thinking of potentially selling one day, we have an expert who has sold over 750 companies. And before we dive into the meat and potatoes, I'd like you to talk to us about, how you got started. Like, what is the origins of this? Like, walk us back to the day.
Yeah, so I've been in corporate sales coming out of college back in the 90s, so we're going way back now. Worked for Lanier Worldwide, which was a copier firm, so I got my basis for sales. And then I worked for a company called Staff Leasing, which was a PEO company. So when I was ready for a career change, I went and decided to join Transworld Business Advisors, which is a local business brokerage firm in South Florida. So I spent 13 years at Transworld, and then I branched off on my own. And I bought into a franchise called Murphy Business. And then I decided to really go independent in 2024, where I formed South Florida M&A Advisors. Now, 100% my own boss. I control my own destiny. And we're focusing on mergers and acquisitions. That's what we do. And I do have a vertical in construction, so I'm very versed in all different types of construction companies. It's a great industry, no doubt. A very lucrative industry for the business owners, no doubt.
Absolutely. Contractors, we work our whole life, and most of them, they don't have an exit in mind. They think that they're just going to have to retire. But, if the business is built properly, it can actually sell for a 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x plus multiple. Well, talk to me.
Generational money, right?
Right.
If you build it up, you do it right, you can make generational money and pass this on to the family, and the family will be taken care of for generations. I've seen it, I've done it, and only the elite companies will sell.
Yeah. For roofers or contractors who don't know, can you explain what your M&A firm specializes in and how it can help roofing and or contractors, owners exit successfully?
Yeah, we have two divisions at the company. We have the M&A division, where we're focusing on construction, roofing contractors, typically with let's say an EBITDA of $1 million, $1.5 million plus. Let's call it up to 10 to 20 million. That's kind of our lower middle market space. And your buyer would either be a strategic buyer, another roofing company that's expanding into the marketplace, or private equity that is either making their first entry, private equity groups that are making their first entry into the marketplace, or a private equity group that has invested into a roofing platform. They made their first investment, and the roofing company or construction company is the add-on. It's adding on to the platform, and they're adding on multiple roofing companies within a certain geographic area. And then they hold it from 7 to 10 years, and then they sell it as a group and get a bigger multiple than what they purchased it for, basically.
Sure. So what are some of the most common myths or misconceptions or misunderstandings about what it actually takes to sell a business? We've got owners listening in and they want to sell their business, but what are the myths or misunderstandings?
Well, they think the private equity group's coming in to run their business and write them a check and to cash them out, and they're out the doors in 30 days. That won't happen. What's going to happen is the private equity group will probably write a check between 70 and 80% of the purchase price, but then there might be a combination of earnouts, rollover equity, maybe some seller financing. It will rarely be a total cash out position. Then there will also be where they're expecting you to stay on, the owner, for up to 2 years. So you got to be a team player, a corporate player, and you got to because the private equity groups are investors. They're not there to run the business. They're there for you to, a 2-year tenure, and then to have someone waiting in the wings to step into your shoes. So it is not a quick exit. It is an exit plan, but it will probably take up to a year to sell and a 2-year exit plan. So that's a 3-year window that's happening. So if you want to dance in private equity and get that big payout, it's gonna take some time, and you got to give commitment to the private equity group post closing.
Well, that makes sense. Like if you're going to roll back 20% and you're going to join a bigger conglomerate, and you just have to stay in at the capacity at which your company's staying in. Like for me, I live in Costa Rica full time. My company does 6 to 10 million a year, give or take the year, and I'm like a pretty remote operator. And if I wanted to sell, which the day is going to come, I understand that I'm going to still have to put my butt in the chair, do what I'm doing, manage, oversee, and then so I can get that 20% or 30% rollback, but it's going to be much bigger than the first check, potentially, right?
Right. It's called the second bite of the apple, where you help grow the platform, and then the multiples will be bigger. And it's important as a business owner is to build structure in your company, because you just can't be the owner and then the roofers. You got to have the management layers in place in case you get sick, or you have top-notch supervisors in place, so you don't have to be on the roof or quoting jobs. You want to run the business, okay, and grow the business. You want to have a sales division. You get a sales manager. You got to have that structure in place. So the less structure you have, the more likely you're the legend in your own business, and that gets tougher to sell.
Yeah, so in that regard, talking about like valuation, if two companies are both doing $6 million in revenue, what makes one worth double the other?
Well, like I said, it comes down to quality books and records. It comes down to structure with management in place. Like I said, a sales division, a great niche. Let's say if you're doing commercial, or you're, residential is fine too. There's private equity groups for that. Got to have quality books and records. You got to have a clean history, no liens, or you just got to. The private equity groups are running off GAAP accounting, and small businesses aren't. So what you invest in your accounting, okay, that's so important, because the better your books are, then the better you'll have the opportunity to survive that quality of earnings audit that you're going to go through. And that's why you got to hire myself and your team. It's a team of advisors that will get you to the finish line. But you got to start planning early, because I promise you, you are not ready to face private equity unless you can have someone look at your company objectively and tell you where the holes are.
100%. I went through the process, and I got to the finish line, but it just wasn't what I wanted. Like when I got my LOI, letter of intent, and I realized, I couldn't have done it without the team, and the money that I spent on good books. And whenever I was going to spend it, I didn't want to spend it, but I was advised, no, this is considered, like, I think they called it an add back. Like this is going to help you. It's going to help you get the higher valuation. Like you have to spend this money in order for everything to look clean for private equity to be interested. So with that in mind, I'm curious, do buyers today place like a higher value on companies that use tech to create predictable results, like things like automated scheduling or instant lead follow-up or AI-powered reporting?
A lot of the roofing companies have good quality CRM, or they're using certain softwares, and a lot of the private equity groups are going to come in with the technology. But if you're already one step ahead of the next company, so then you're more efficient, then you're going to have better production, and you're going to have better quoting. You're going to be able to control the quoting and make sure the margins are properly in place, and then you should have better margins and better EBITDA. So the better you automate, the better volume that you're able to do from a commercial standpoint or residential. But yeah, the AI and automation is definitely very important in all construction companies. Manually is just not going to do it anymore. So yeah, you really got to embrace it and find out where the weaknesses are in your company, and try to bring it up to the next level, as there are many levels along the way. I'm sure, when you look at companies, many levels of automation that you could bring it.
Sure. Now, for a guest listening that doesn't know what EBITDA is, can you shine some light to our audience what that actually means?
Right. So EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. So the long and the short of it, we're not going to add back your salary. So if you have an office salary of $250,000, that's going to be your salary to stay working for the private equity group. We're gonna look at your profit on your P&L, which should be accrual basis. At this level, the private equity groups are looking at GAAP accounting, which is accrual. So your financials need to be not going to be GAAP compliant, because no one is in the small business, but have accrual financials. Very, very important. If you're working off cash, it's great for tax purposes, but it's really not going to help us be as effective for you. So that's very, very, very important.
Are you seeing more roofing companies merging or being acquired lately? Like, what's that?
Yeah, more than likely the private equity groups are marketing on their own. I'm sure a lot of business owners are getting email from private equity, or even letters. But I can tell you right now, these are professional buyers. These are Harvard, Wharton, you name it, every Ivy League. These are really smart people. And you need a M&A advisor, you need an M&A attorney, you need a fractional CFO to help you, okay? And because more than likely your CPA will not be part of the team. They typically do not like to do the work involved in an M&A transaction. Your financial planner will be involved. There'll be a whole team together to guide you. And so that's very important, because you're going up against people that do it for a living. That's all they do is buy companies, and it's a different language, and you have never spoken it before.
Do you think now is a better time to sell versus a few years ago? Or should owners be more focused on building more value first and or waiting for interest rates to drop?
Well, you have to look at your individual company. If you have an EBITDA of $2 million, and the business is netting $2 million, you're probably going to be an add-on to another platform. A private equity group A bought their first company, and now you are the second, third, or 10th company into the platform, and your multiple is going to be smaller. But if you grew to 5 million or 8 million, you're the first entry for that private equity group, you get a bigger multiple. So, and it's also what age you are. If you're in your 50s, chances are you have a longer runway, and you might be not so quick to sell. But if you're in your 60s and you've been in the roofing business for 40 plus years, 30 plus years, this could be the time to take your money off the table and like I said, make generational money, or get it invested and take the handcuffs off your life and really, obviously after the 2-year employment agreement, and then just live your life with, be able to travel and enjoy time with friends and family. So it's really each individual circumstance. But the longer the runway you have, the more likelihood you're going to want a bigger number, because you still have earning power. It's when you're in your 60s and you really have a reason to get to the other side of ownership.
Sure. Now, let's just say hypothetically, I wanted to sell. I'm still, somewhat young. I still have a lot of energy, but if I could get $7.5 million and I have all these private equity companies wanting to buy or acquire my company and make me a bolt-on to their platform, would it be better for me to be a bolt-on as one of their first bolt-ons, or a bolt-on to another platform and I'd be like the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th bolt-on? Like, where would my negotiating power be? Because obviously I want my share price to be the highest. Like, what advice could you give me there?
Well, if you like 6 or 7, then you're going to have 6 other companies that will be able to tell you how is the private equity group, are they good to work with, right? If you only got one, then you only have one reference. If you're deeper along the line, you're pretty much going to get a feeling of, is it a good office to work with? Will they mesh with your corporate culture? Was very important. Obviously, the bolt-ons on the add-on, you might get a better multiple because they've already paid the 7 or 8, 9x on the platform, and if they really like your marketplace and they really like you, you'll get a good multiple, but you're not going to get the top multiple that they paid for that platform. You know what? It really just, a lot of factors come in. You got taxes to pay. There's capital gains. You got to pay an attorney. You got to pay an advisor. So like I said, you got to want to be on the other side of ownership within 3 years to really make that move. And you got to really want to be a team player and help maintain or grow your business, plus help them grow their business. So it's just having a different hat on as compared to just running your company.
So when you're talking to a roofing owner who is not ready to sell their company yet, but they know they want to sell their roofing company eventually, what do you recommend that they focus on in the next 12 to 24 months?
Well, we really want to get their books in order. We want to make sure they are, either using QuickBooks, and they got either a controller in-house, or they have spending the money to make sure how you recognize revenue, keep your accounts receivable and payables in good shape. We just want to make sure they're reporting properly, and get into a system where financials are, within a couple of weeks after the close of the month. Then the month prior, financials are done. What happens is if you have a bookkeeper or CFO that is like 4 or 5 months behind, it'll be virtually impossible for the private equity group to get funding for the debt, or and you're really chasing your tail. And I experienced that with one of my closings. We were chasing our tail on the financials, and it delayed the deal 4 to 6 months. So yeah, you got to get your books in order. You don't want account concentration. You don't want one account representing 50% of your business. You want diversification, and you want you want a quality team. You want a good quality management team that's in charge of either commercial roofing, residential roofing, or the maintenance that you have. But just don't make yourself doing everything. Don't be the hero.
Sure.
Delegate.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Build a business that is ran, not a business that you have to run. Like, you should be the owner, not the operator. That's 100% absolutely accurate. So I'm curious, what's one of the top reasons that a deal falls apart when a roofing company tries to sell?
Well, you got to disclose everything. If you had a checkered past, they will do a background check on you. So if you have a felony or some bad stuff on you, go get ugly early. I always say, you know what I mean. Just you're always going to tell the great stuff. Tell me the bad stuff.
I like
you know what I mean.
So
let's not. Yeah, let's. You know what I mean. Get ugly early. So yeah, the books and records can really kill it. If you're in a lease and you don't own your property, and your landlord is going to tell you to get out, that creates issues too. Account concentration. You might have some non-competes for your staff to make sure that they're not stealing your clients, because that will come up. Non-competes on key people. But yeah, accounting is typically the biggest adversarial to the quality of earnings.
Yeah, if it makes dollars and cents, it makes sense. Like, that's bottom line. And they just want a good management company running the thing. They don't want to just buy an owner who's running the company, because that's a job if he leaves when he gets that big check. So on the flip side, what are some signs that make a buyer say, yes, I want that company?
Well, if we're getting a private equity group that is making their first entry, they have to buy your company. I mean, they're going to spend 4 to 6 months, maybe up to 8 months to buy your company. And if they don't buy it, then they've just lost out in that entire year, and they have to go back to the drawing board. So if you're that platform investment, that's a beautiful thing. You're going to get a great multiple. and hopefully negotiate the best possible deal. And they have to buy that company. If you're an add-on, then if you got a lot of hair in the business, they don't have to buy you. They already got the platform. They got some add-ons. So it's always better to be the platform company. I'm going through that right now with a plumbing company for $14 million. This private equity group is their first entry. Business net's about $3.5 million, and we've been at it since late January. Not because of the buyers, it's all because the sellers' jobs did not start, and they had a big pipeline of jobs that did not start, so it delayed the closing. But they've spent so much time on this deal that they have to close on this because they've almost spent a year on it, and they want to buy 25 companies. They haven't even got past the first one. So this one has to close in order to go to the 2, 3, and 4 project. You know what I mean? Sure. So it's always better to be the platform. But if you're not, if you're an add-on, it's still worthwhile. It's going to be very good money for you, and you just got to be a team player.
Amen. So for contractors that are listening who've been grinding for 7 to 15 years, what's possible on the other side of a successful sale?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm seeing on EBITDA's minimum 4 times multiple. I'm getting a new construction commercial plumber a 4x multiple on 3.5. So it's not all cash. We've had a lot of cash deals where the seller had like 95% cash. He went out and took the earn-out. He took the rollover equity. A lot of times you got to leave some equity in the deal to make it work. So you're now part of the team, and you're taking some equity in the new company. So it is very advantageous, even as an add-on, big numbers, and with the end goal that you're going to be able to exit and really take back your time and look back on a career that was extremely successful, because there's only a few ways to get out of your business. You're going to be able to, if it's big enough, you're going to either sell it to a large private equity or strategic buyer, or you're going to do a buyout within a family member, and you're going to finance them for over 30 years, or just take a salary, or you're going to shut it down, or you're going to sell it to an employee. So the most cash coming to you.
I like the idea of just getting as much cash as possible.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, so listen, there's so much trust you can give on your entire life work. You know what I mean? So the best thing is to if you don't believe your kids are really ready to take on the monster, and that you can trust them to really run it like you were running it, then the best thing you can do is sell the company to private equity, put your family in position to run the company, but they're going to get that support from the private equity. And sometimes it's great to take your names off the credit lines and all the vendors that you have personal guarantees with, and you are now, personal guarantee no more.
Sure.
So that's important.
Do you think AI and automation will become part of how buyers evaluate roofing companies in the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could put the financials in, and they could put the legal contracts in, they could put the LOI in. I mean, that's where AI is coming in. It's getting rid of a lot of white-collar jobs. It can calculate net working capital, where normally we're bringing in a fractional CFO to help us with that. So yeah, anything that, the problem is you can't have your name on the documents, because the minute you put it in the AI, it's in the cloud, and that's, you all of a sudden your financial information, if it's your name on it, then it's up there in the cloud for other people to use. Okay, so we had the fortunate opportunity to help a South Florida roofing company. This particular company had a $13 million EBITDA, and along the way,
that's a huge company, dude.
Yeah, they were doing about $60 million a year. By the time we got through the whole process, he was up to $20 million and $100 million in revenue. So we found the first entry private equity group. It sold for dollar, sold for $100 million. And got basically 80% down. There was a 10% earnout and 10% rollover equity. So at closing, it was $80 million at the closing. That's generational wealth. The family was working in the business. The owner did have 2 years of an employment agreement. His son was also involved, and his son-in-law were also involved. So they were staying on with the company with the owner, with the eventual where the son would step into the CEO role. So it worked out really well. The owner was like 68, 69, and it was time for that generational event, and it was very successful. Company is doing really well, and the private equity group is making that second, third, and fourth, fifth acquisition. But that was a perfect example of how a platform can work. First entry private equity coming in and buying the roofing company, giving a 7.5 multiple, and it end up being a $100 million deal. Now there were a lot of war stories in that deal for another podcast, because the deal died like 20 times along the way and came back to life. But
awesome.
But at the end of the day, the seller had set up generations for the family at this point, if invested right.
Russell, for roofing owners or just contractors in general who want to know what their company's worth or learn like how to prepare for an exit, where can they reach you?
Sure. So the website is southfloridama.com, and you'll learn about the firm. Emails are Cohen, RCOHEN, at South Florida MA, and my cell phone is 954-646-7651. I'm working all the time. If you send me an email at nighttime at 10 o'clock, I'm on the computer working. So I'm always available, and we'll do whatever it takes to get to the right deal for you. We're a boutique M&A firm, and we pride in local service, meaning that I'll come to you, and we work the state of Florida, and we're happy to help anyone or just give the right advice on where to take the next step.
You heard it here, guys. Listen, if you are thinking about selling your company, reach out to Russell today. Thank you.